Hey everybody, happy Friday. Another unusually beautiful October. It's almost noontime. Just going for a drive. Still haven't heard from any of my children. Can you believe it? Not one of my kids reached out to their mom. I'm still waiting for people to extend their support. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yet to happen. I'm gonna be on my own again for Christmas and Thanksgiving because my children don't want me. Connor, if you're listening, it's sad. You don't have any time for your mother. You want to believe everything they're putting in your mind and you don't want to know the truth. You know how many letters I've written to you? How many videos I've made? How many letters? Connor, and how many times have you written back to me? How many times have you reached out? You, Caden, poor Colin. Not one time. You don't know what your father and your grandparents has put me through. It doesn't seem like you care. You just want to, you're content with just going along with whatever they're putting in your heads. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to reach out to me. You don't want to ask me any questions. You just want to blacklist your own mother. You know how lucky you are to have a mom that's tried as hard as I have? Do you know how lucky you are? Sad. It's sad that I have to go through all of this. My children. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I wanted to be on my own? Is your father perfect? Is your grandparents perfect? This is not normal. Normal parents co-parent. They don't blacklist and turn the children against their own mom. What they're doing is not normal. And you need to wake up and see what they're doing. And you need to care. You have to stop accepting their bribes. Every time they give you money, buy you things, take you places, that's bribing you. Who told you, Connor, that you're not allowed to talk to your mom? Who told you that? And why are you going along with it? That's the biggest question. Why are they threatening they're going to kick you out of the house for going along with it? Are they threatening to take away your college? They're telling you they're going to disinherit you if you reach out to your mother? That is not normal. Normal people don't do this. They don't do this. You need to wake up and say, this is not right. Caden hates me. I have no idea why he hates me. What does he do with all the child support? Because I know he doesn't buy you clothes. He barely buys you food. I know he doesn't pay for anything because he has his parents, mommy and daddy, paying for everything. It's not normal. I have 3 children and none of my kids will talk to me. And they're just going along with whatever they're being told for the last 8 years. Connor told me, he said, we are not allowed to talk to you. That's against the court order, Connor. Nobody can tell you that you're not allowed to talk to your mother. That's against the court order. And I want to know who is telling you that. Who is telling you that you can't reach out to your mother? Because that is a violation of the court order. They cannot tell you that. And you need to tell me who's telling you that. You have to stop being scared. That's how they control you, by making you scared so that you don't bend their rules. Connor, you're better than they are. Are you content with just going along with whatever they're telling you? Or you want to do the right thing? I try to contact you on Facebook. You won't talk to me. Who blocked me on Facebook? Was it you? Was it your father? Was it your grandparents? Who blocked me on Facebook? And Snap. I can't even talk to you. I told you to get Textnow so that you can reach out to me. He has no right. Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, and Vera Ginny Schulte from a park above, and Samuel Baca from Glenwood Hills in Albuquerque, they have no right to tell you that you're not allowed to talk to your mother. They have no right. And unless you break free of them, Connor, you're always going to be scared. And you're always going to have questions. But you're too scared to go against them. You prefer to hurt your mother than to go against them? And you know in your heart what they're doing is wrong. You know in your heart that they have no right to tell you. And I don't know how many times I've told you that. Do you read any of my letters? Do you go on Instagram? Do you read any of my letters? Why in God's earth will you not talk to me? Poor Colin. I'd love to see Colin. I'd love to know who your friends are. I want to be a mother. He's got no right. He's been doing this for 8 years. He's been telling you that you're not allowed to talk to your mother. That is criminal. What he's doing is criminal. That is not right. Normal parents co-parent. They work together. Most parents co-parent. They don't do what your father and your grandparents are doing. They're filling your heart with horrible, disgusting things about your mother. And you're going along with it, Connor. Do you know that you're hurting me? When you go along with whatever they're telling you, do you know that you're hurting me? And Caden, you're hurting me too. What you did the last time I saw you was really, really hurtful. Saying that you hated me and that you never wanted to see me again and you wouldn't even look at me. What in God's earth did I do to you? What did I do to you to make you hate me so much? I don't know what to do because Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, and Virginia Schulte are telling my children that they're not allowed to talk to their mother, which is a violation of the court order. He's never ever told the children that they can reach out to me whenever they want. He's never told my children that. He's never told my kids that, and that's a violation. You know, he's over there poisoning and scaring my children that live in Rio Rancho. I know that Caden and Colin Baca were going to Tony Hillerman in Rio Rancho, and Connor just graduated from Volcano High School, and I never got to meet their teachers because their father is telling everybody that I'm a horrible person. I would love to. I don't even know who goes to the parent-teacher meetings. I don't know if my children have been in hospital. Prisoners have more rights than I do, and it's okay because nobody cares. Why do prisoners have more rights than me? I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I have a job, I have a place, and yet I still can't see my children. And nobody, not one single person wants to help. I have written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters. I have asked everybody for help. No one ever reaches out. Nobody. They read my letters and don't even say anything. And then nothing. Where's the justice? Where is the faith in humanity? Because there isn't none. Because nobody cares. Nobody gives a crap. How do you feel if you didn't see your children for 8 years and you see other parents with teenagers and you see other parents that get a hug and kiss their children and you know that you're a mother but you can't do any of that? You tell me, how would that make you feel when the court completely disrespected me and disregarded me as a mother. It was like they believed, or they chose to believe, everything that Samuel Baca and Paul Brian Baca and Virginie Schulte and their corrupt attorney, Edmund Perea, and the therapist, John Jack Schooley, who's a friend of the father, saying that he saw my children during COVID. We know that he didn't see my children during COVID. And then he went and he wrote to Deborah Ramirez, telling Deborah Ramirez that it would hurt my children to have a relationship with their mother. What kind of a therapist does that? What kind of a therapist destroys that beautiful relationship? John Jack Schooley, I know that he's friends with Samuel Baca. I know that they went to college together. Why wasn't the therapist neutral? Paul Brian Baca didn't want to attend All Faiths. Connor was going to All Faiths on Moon Street in Albuquerque, and Connor told Chloe, the therapist there, that his father was hurting him. He was pulling his ear and he was hitting him. And what does Paul Brian Baca do? He goes to court and trashes Chloe, and Stephen Klump takes his side. Lamar took his side when he said it was stressful going over the Rio Grande Bridge, when he was going over the Rio Grande Bridge to see his mother. He had a big fight with Lisa at the children's services, and he stormed out and said he was going to move the children to somewhere else. How come I didn't have a say in where the visitations were? I had no choice. I was told that I had to go along with everything. I had no choice. Whatever Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, and Virginie Schulte wanted, I had no choice. I had to go along with whatever was suitable for them. Nothing I asked for. 99% of the motions that I filed, they were all rejected. 99% of the motions. Stephen Klump is a horrible, horrible, horrible person. And so is Armin Karian. He's like, oh, she doesn't want to see her children. I didn't want to see my children in the places they wanted me to see my children, because there was no park to take my children. And the places that they were choosing, which was neutral corners, and the other place downtown, there was no park to take my children, and all that was there was nothing, was just baby toys. And the park above was where his mother was living. The children's names are engraved there. And I asked the judge to move the visitations back to the children's services. But they wouldn't. They took Paul Brian Baca's side. Instead of telling the Judge Lamar, that he had a big fight with Lisa, and Lisa told him that the children were out of control. Because over at his father and mother's place, there is no rules. The children have been raised on the Xbox. There's no supervision, there's no rules. The children get to do whatever they want. They're teaching the children not to have respect for anybody. And that is not how I wanted to raise my children. I didn't want to raise my kids on the Xbox. In video games, that's not what I wanted. But Stephen Klump wanted that, because I asked for the Xbox. I said, can I have the Xbox so that I can monitor, how much time my children were spending on it? And you know what Stephen Klump said? No. I was a mean person. He said no to everything. Stephen Klump is a horrible, horrible, horrible person. And he works for the family court in New Mexico. And so does Armin Karian. He gave Paul Brian Baca everything. They gave me nothing. Prisoners get better treatment than I do. And if you go and you look at the motions, you will see everything that happened. And you will see all the injustice. It's Baca versus Baca. Geraldine Baca versus Paul Brian Baca. Go read all those motions and you'll see how he got 99% of everything. All 99% of my motions got dismissed. Stephen Clump had no respect for me. Armin Karian had no respect. And Deborah Ramirez, and it was traumatic. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I cried because I was so upset. I had no support. I was a mother one day, and then the next day I had no children. And that was 8 years ago. I've been fighting for my children for 8 years. And now nobody wants to help me. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. Parental alienation is the worst thing any mother can go through. My children hate me so much, they don't even want to talk to me. I was at work the other day, and I was talking to this beautiful person. I thought she was from Russia, but she's not from Russia. She's from one of those, is it Macedonia? Macedonia? Such a sweet, sweet lady. Beautiful lady. This was after the incident happened with the other guy I was telling you about yesterday. She was such a darling. She was talking to me and just asked me, why I was in New Mexico for 21 years if I hated it. And I told her, I said, I was married and I had children, and then I went through divorce, and he took my kids and he turned my children against me, and that was 8 years ago. So the court took his side because they hired a corrupt lawyer, Edmund Perea. I call him Edmund Perea. They had no respect for me as the children's mother. Absolutely no respect. And ever since then, I've asked everybody for help. I've gone to lawyers, and they want $5,000 just to reopen the case. And then they said that I'd be lucky if I get breadcrumbs. There is no justice. I am a mother. Children need both parents. Why are they being raised by a narcissist family? Paul Brian Baca is a narcissist. The only reason he got his job in Sandia Labs is because Danny Baca works there. And Danny Baca is in management. When he was working in Los Alamos National Labs, and he was there for 12 years, he couldn't even get a reference. And I asked him, I said, why can't you get a reference? And he said, the boss only promotes the women that give him blowjobs, or the guys that look up to him. And he was making himself out to be a saint. And there was nobody for me to ask because they weren't doing the Christmas parties anymore. So I wasn't getting the backstory from anybody else. But he could not get a reference. He told me when I first met him that we were not going to stay in New Mexico. And then after 13 years, he wanted to move to Albuquerque to be closer to his parents. My biggest mistake was involving his parents, involving his father especially, the corrupt ex-police chief. Back in, was it 2010? Vera Jenny Schulte accused Samuel Baca in Glenwood Hills, the ex-police chief, of molesting my two boys, Connor and Caden. Caden, is that why you're mad at me? Is your grandfather molesting you? If that's the case, you need to talk to me. You can't hold that in, Caden. Is that why you're mad at me? Is your grandfather, Samuel Baca in Glenwood Hills, is he molesting you? I'm trying to find out why you're so angry and why you hate me so much. Do you hate me so much because you feel I wasn't there to protect you? You know what? I tried everything I could to protect you. But I was told if I contacted you or I reached out to you, I was harassing you and I was going to get arrested. Your father was going to go throw me in jail just for trying to have a phone call with you. I have no idea why you're so angry at me. Do you hate me because I wasn't there to protect you? I wasn't allowed to be there. I wasn't allowed to go to your communion. I wasn't allowed to go to Colin's communion. And I was the one that picked out the suit at the Men's Warehouse in Santa Fe. I wasn't allowed to go. I don't know what he's putting in your head, Connor, Caden, and Colin, because you will not talk to me. You will not tell me anything. You're just going along with these horrible, horrible, horrible people. The family court in New Mexico, Stephen Klump, Armin Carrion, Deborah Ramirez, and Lamar and Sanofi, I don't know what her first name is, I have to look it up. They did not protect you. They did not protect my children. They allowed a narcissist to raise my children. I don't even know, I don't know who went to the parent-teacher meetings. No idea. His girlfriend is acting as the parent. She's not the parent. I'm the parent. And you know what? I don't know why nobody wants to help me. I don't know why nobody wants to do the right thing and say, Geraldine, this is wrong. This is wrong and I want to help you. Why has nobody stepped up to the plate? I have made countless videos. I've written so many letters and not one single person has reached out and said, hey Geraldine, I want to help you. I had one person and basically she had no money and she told me she was paying for because she said she had to get the court papers and she said she was paying for them out of her pocket. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you telling me that? Like, you're supposed to be well connected. I mean, I don't want somebody that has no money because all of this takes money. You know, if you have no money, you know, the people that want to help are the people with no money. And then the people that have the money and have the resources, those people don't want to help at all. They just want to go about their life and have their vacations and have their fancy house and have their fancy cars and have all their money in the bank, and they don't want to do anything that's right. Parental alienation is a crime and it should be treated as such. No person should have the right to keep children away from their mother. And Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, and Virginia Schulte are from Albuquerque are telling Connor, Caden, and Colin Baca they're not allowed to talk to their mother. And Stephen Klump is letting it happen. And Armin Carrion is letting it happen. I have gone to CYFD. I have gone to the, everybody that I can think of. And Legal Aid said they don't have the resources, that they don't deal with custody. And then I've spent tons of money on lawyers, thousands of dollars. And the last time I went to court, I had to pay his court fees. Stephen Klump said I was wasting the court's time and I needed to be punished. And so he charged me $3,000 to pay his court fees. And you know what? He's a racist and he hired a black lawyer. He's a racist. I know he's a racist. He sees black people on the street and he goes, there's stretch monkeys. And then he'll say, there goes the neighborhood. And that's what he's teaching my children. And he said it's okay because his grandfather was like that. All I want is support. All I want is somebody to reach out and say, Geraldine, this is wrong. This has been going on for too long. This is wrong. I know there are people out there that have the money and have the finances and have the support to do something. And it's about time you did something. It's not right. No mother should be cut off from my children. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm not a drug addict. I told you that he bought a picture to court of a woman and a man that he took on Eubank, and they were panhandling. And it was a side profile. And the woman looked exactly like me. I mean, even I had to take a double take. And the only reason she wasn't me is because her shoes looked different and her bag looked different. And I said, that's not my shoes. But if you're just taking a side profile, she looked exactly like me. So he thought it was me. And he thought I was there with my drug addict boyfriend. And the whole time at the hearing with Armin Carrion, I had no lawyer. It was an 8-hour hearing. Because I'll find out the lawyers that I wanted $8,000. They wanted $3,000 retainer, and then they wanted another $8,000 for the hearing. Otherwise, they weren't going to represent me. And I will find out their names and I will tell you who they are. I mean, I was desperate. I had nobody. And you know where I met those people? On the state bar. And I told them, I said, how dare you reach out to people on the state bar? I said, if I had those resources to pay you $8,000, you know, I would have gone straight to you. They wanted $11,000 just for one hearing. I know it was an 8-hour hearing, but that's still a lot of money. $8,000. And I offered them $5,000 and they wouldn't even accept it. And they had the nerve, I'll tell you the names of those people. They had the nerve to go to the state bar, which is like where the poor people go, to try and recruit people to help you. To help, you know. That's where people like me go to try and get lawyers that can help. And you know what? The state bar is useless. Because what happens is you pay $35 and, you know, if a lawyer is interested in the case, all they give you is a consultation. They don't, anything after that is the normal price. So the state bar is a complete joke. It's a complete joke, the state bar. $35 for a consultation, and then you still have to pay everything regular. And that's where lawyers go to take, you know, advantage of people. State bar is useless. Legal aid is useless. There's no resources for people going through parental alienation. There's absolutely no resources. And it's not treated as a crime when it is. I mean, when you're brainwashing the children to hate their mother, and you're doing that intentionally for 8 years, and then the New Mexico Family Court doesn't stop it. If anything, the New Mexico Family Court encourages it. They didn't do nothing to protect my children. They didn't put any value on me as a mother. They treated me like I was a horrible person, that I was like a drug addict. All because I let my emotions get the best of me, because I had no lawyer to hide behind. He had his parents at every hearing, and he had a lawyer. He had his mommy and daddy at every, Ginny Schulte was at some hearings, but his father was at all the hearings. His father was right there, Samuel Baca, coaching him on what to say. At one point, Samuel Baca said that I went to Tony Hillerman's school and that I was back where the playground is, and I was out there and the principal was trying to get rid of me. It was pure lies. And Stephen Klump went along with it. And then the therapist said that I abused my children. That Connor, Caden and Colin, John Jack Schooley, told Armin Carrion that I abused my children. There was no evidence. Absolutely no evidence. And then he said that he had been seeing Connor, Caden and Colin since 2018. There's no way he saw the children since 2018. And why was the therapist not a neutral party? How come there was no guardian ad litem, and how come the court clinic was never involved? After like 4 years, Deborah Ramirez said we'd have to go to the court clinic. And behind my back, Paul Brian Baca wrote to Deborah Ramirez and told Deborah Ramirez that he didn't need to do the court clinic. And she agreed with them. They told me at the beginning that I wouldn't see my children unless I did a psychological evaluation. And guess what? They never provided one. So for 4 years, they never provided anyone. They never provided anyone, period. But then they used it against me, saying that I was refusing to do an evaluation when they never provided one. So they were intentionally keeping the children away from me, telling me that I couldn't see them until I did a psychological evaluation. But then they never provided anyone to do the psychological evaluation. They basically told me I had to go find someone myself. If it was so important, why didn't I have a court-appointed one? If it was so important. And why didn't he have to do it? You know, he was saying, oh, I don't need to do an evaluation. I get evaluated all the time at work. The evaluation that he does at work has nothing to do with Connor, Caden and Colin. It has nothing to do with his parenting style. It's completely different. It's to do with holding a gun. I went to CYFD. I can't tell you how many, whatever you call it, I filed with complaints. I filed with CYFD. CYFD did nothing. Even when Chloe from All Faiths told them what happened at the meeting, CYFD did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. They said I had no proof. I wasn't allowed near the children. I wasn't allowed to talk to my own sons. I couldn't pick up the phone and talk to them. I couldn't FaceTime them. So how was I supposed to get any proof when I was cut off from my children? If you're an outsider and you live in New Mexico, you're going to be treated like garbage. If you're not Hispanic, you're going to be treated like garbage. I don't have any family here. I had nobody. And it's been 8 years. This happened back in 2016. They won't let me see my children. They won't let me talk to my children. They won't let me talk to the children's teachers. He can take my children out of the country and he doesn't have to say anything to me. My children could be, God forbid, in a car accident and be in hospital, and he doesn't have to tell me anything. That is wrong. I am a mother. Where is the respect for the mother of these children? Where is the respect? There is no respect, because the New Mexico Family Court does not value the parent-child relationship. They favor men over women. I was a great mother. I loved my children. I used to hug my kids. I used to kiss my children all the time. The last thing I wanted for my children was to be in front of the Xbox. I went to all the parent-teacher meetings, and I had my children just taken away from me. I wasn't allowed to see them. I wasn't allowed to talk to them. I wasn't allowed to reach out to them. I wasn't allowed to have any relationship with my children. How is that right? He got to choose the visitations. Everything had to be in Paul Brian Baca's terms. Everything. If you live in New Mexico and if you live in Albuquerque and you know my children, Connor, Caden and Colin, that live in Rio Rancho, that go to Tony Hillerman and Volcano High School, I am their mother. I never disowned my children. I never walked away from my children. I was cut off. I was blacklisted because Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, Virginia Schulte told the court that I abused my children. And I did not abuse my children. I made one mistake. That does not make me a bad parent. Paul Brian Baca is the furthest thing from perfect. He's the furthest thing from perfect. He is an egomaniac. They didn't see his aggression and his temper. He's extremely aggressive with the children. I know he hits the children all the time. I know Connor's tantrums because I witnessed Connor's tantrums. Connor had so many tantrums. And I should have done something, but I knew that he wouldn't approve of it. He never did anything to support me with Connor's tantrums. He said it was my fault. Everything was my fault. Anything bad with the children was my fault. Anything good, he took the credit for. Paul Brian Baca is a narcissist. He works in Sandia Labs in Albuquerque. He lives in Red Bloom Road in Rio Rancho. He is an evil, evil narcissist. He's not a good person. He is a horrible, horrible mama's boy. These people betrayed me in the worst way. They wouldn't have these children if it wasn't for me. They wouldn't have Connor, Caden and Colin if it wasn't for me. And you know what? I've been traumatized. I went through so much trauma. every time I went to court. I would cry all the way home because Stephen Clump had no respect for me because I didn't have a lawyer. I had a lawyer part-time, but they always quit because they wanted more and more money. They just wanted more and more money, and then they wanted me to settle, and I didn't want to settle. I was treated like garbage by the New Mexico Family Court. I was treated like garbage because I'm an outsider and I'm not Hispanic. Stephen Clump, Armin Carrion, and Deborah Ramirez treated me like garbage. And you know what? I bet I'm not the only one. I bet they do this all the time. They tear families apart. And they're supposed to do what is best for the children. And what they do is not that. They don't do what's best for the children. These people are narcissists too. They don't care about the children. They couldn't give a shit. They're horrible people. Stephen Clump is supposed to put the children first. He wouldn't even look at a picture I took to court. I had blown up a picture, so that he could see my children. He would not even look at it. He wouldn't look at it. He doesn't want to see faces of children. He just wants to see names on a piece of paper. And he sides with the people that have the most money and the most power and the most resources. That's what Stephen Clump and Armin Carrion does. So if you come from a family of money, then he's going to go with you, whether it's in the best interests of the children or not. I am telling you, he has no respect for mothers. Absolutely zero respect for mothers. What kind of a court does not let the mothers see the children? What kind of a court does that? Children need their mother. The boys needed me, and I couldn't be there because Stephen Clump took away all my rights. Deborah Ramirez took away all my rights because Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, and Virginia Schulte, as well as Edmund Perea, as well as John Jack Scully, told the court that I abused my children. They had zero proof. Zero proof. And the boys were not allowed to testify. My children were not allowed to testify. So they just took their word for it. And they said, we're not going to put the children through that. I went through so much torture. It was horrible. I couldn't talk to my children. I was accused of the unthinkable. And then, on top of that, it's all the betrayal. The person that I had married and the person that said he loved me couldn't give a shit about me. You know who he loved? He loved his mommy. He loved Virginia Schulte. I'm surprised he's not breastfeeding because he does everything. She mollycoddles him. She knew he was doing a horrible, horrible thing. Paul Brian Baca was married to Nicole Ross that lives in Fort Lauderdale. They destroyed that marriage because she could not have children. When I first met him, he had nothing good to say about Nicole Ross, except the only thing he told me was that she was good at blowjobs, and that was during sex. He is an egomaniac narcissist. He's got a violent temper. He's extremely aggressive. He's not a good person, and he's a mama's boy. He had his mommy and daddy holding his hand all the way through court, and I had nobody. I can't tell you how much I cried. I cried buckets. It tore me apart. I had the betrayal of someone I thought cared about me who didn't give a shit about me. He just cared about his parents, and he just cared about giving his parents grandchildren. Once he got the grandchildren, he didn't respect me anymore, and they planned how to get rid of me. He was living with his father 4 days a week. We weren't even living together. And he would call the children every single night and demand to talk to the children, even if the children were sleeping. He would demand to talk to them. He couldn't care less if he talked to me. And then that same person has taken my children for 8 years. and deprived me of a loving relationship with my children. And the New Mexico family court went along with it because they come from money. They're millionaires. They come from money. Who am I? I'm nobody. They don't put the welfare of the children first. It's all about money and power. Stephen Klump only cares about money and power. He does not do what's right for the children. My children now, they won't talk to me. They won't look at me. Caden hates me because of everything that's been put in his head. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Samuel Baca has been molesting him or molesting Connor and molesting Colin this whole time. Why else would Caden hate me so much? Because I wasn't there to protect him. He won't talk to me. He hates me. As a mother, I've written so many letters to my children. Go on my Instagram. Go on my Instagram. And go on my Facebook. And you will see all the letters that I've written to my children. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters. And that's not even all the letters. I mean, I used to write letters prior to that, but I never posted them. If you want to be treated like garbage, live in New Mexico. If you want to be treated like the scum of the earth, come to New Mexico. Because that's what Stephen Klump and Armand Carrion and the New Mexico Family Court does if you're an outsider. They have no respect for you. They have zero respect for outsiders. And they have zero respect for mothers. What they put me through is absolutely disgusting. These people are despicable. They are horrible, horrible, horrible people. They're despicable. And I have gone to everybody for help, and nobody wants to help me. Nobody. I know there's people out there with resources that have, you know, the connections and the resources to help. But I'm asking you, if you care, you know, at all, if any tiny part of you cares, then do something. No mother should get treated like garbage. No mother. I am Connor, Caden, and Colin. You know, if any tiny part of you loves your mother, you need to talk to me. You need to stop listening to them. They have no right to tell you that you're not allowed to talk to your mother. They have no right. And if you're going along with it, Connor, Caden, and Colin, shame on you. And Caden, if you hate me so much, at least have the respect me enough to tell me why you hate me. Do it for Colin. If you're mad at me because I didn't go to your communion, I wasn't allowed to go to your communion. I don't know what's in your head because you won't communicate with me. You know what? This whole experience has been extremely traumatic for me. And I know it's been traumatic for you too. But look at it from other people's shoes, not just your shoes. I know it's been traumatizing for you, but it's also been traumatizing for me. What they did is disgusting. No parent has the right to keep you away from your mother. I know he's an evil narcissist, and I know he shouts at you all the time, and I want to be able to protect you, but unless you reach out to me, which you are permitted to do, by the way, the court order says you can reach out to me, Caden. Unless you do that, I cannot help you. I can't do anything unless you reach out to me. And if you continue to be afraid, and you continue to accept their gifts, and you continue to be bribed, then shame on you. You know in your heart that your mom loves you so much. Because if I didn't love you, Caden, Connor, and Colin, I would not write you all the letters. I wouldn't write you. You think I wanted to be away from you? Why do you think I stayed in New Mexico? I don't want to go through another Christmas where I don't talk to my children. I don't want that. I have fought you 8 years. Just because I don't have the money they have doesn't make me less of a person. You don't need money to be a good mother. It's not all about gifts and bribes. You don't need money to be a good mother. I care about you. I don't know who's going to your parent-teacher meetings. I don't know if you're ever in hospital. I don't know what your grades are. I don't know anything. You know why, boys? Because you don't respond. You don't reach out to me. And I would love to hear from you. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to, the past is the past. I can't change the past, Dwelling on the past isn't going to change anything. But if any part of you, wants to know the truth or wants a relationship with your mother, my door is always open, boys. You can ring me anytime, day or night. I'm not going to be mad at you. I love you with all my heart. I love you so much. I don't know who's going to your parent-teacher meetings. Going to court was very, very traumatizing for me when I did not have a lawyer to hide behind. Very, very traumatizing. Anyway, I gotta go. I'll give you my phone number because it's a Textnow number. It's not like a regular phone. It's 505-427-2057. So Connor, Caden and Colin, call me. Don't use Samuel Baca's phone because then he'll go to court and he'll tell the court that I'm harassing you. What you need to do is download Textnow and use Textnow to correspond with me, or use Snap. I leave my Snap in the description. I would absolutely love to hear from you. I don't want to go through another Christmas and Thanksgiving without you. I didn't have 3 children to be alone. I carried each of you for 9.5 months, or however long it was, 40 weeks. And I loved every single moment of it. I love breastfeeding you. I love being part of your lives. I love watching your milestones. And all that has been taken away. And you know what I loved the most? I love taking pictures of you. I loved it. I haven't been taking pictures because I love to take pictures of you. And I have no memories of any pictures for the last 8 years. I know, Caden, you're mad at me. And I know Connor and Colin. But unless you reach out to me, then you're never going to know the truth. Why are you so scared? They don't have to know. They have no right. What they're doing is criminal. It's not right. And you're going along with it because you're so scared. He has no right to scare you, boys. What is he threatening to do? Paul Brian Bach is threatening to kick you out of the house that his mother gave him the down payment for. His mother gave him $100,000 as a down payment on the big house that he has. See, Mommy and Daddy help him with everything. He went to court at the beginning and he said he had no money. The whole time he was living rent-free at his father's. He spent 3 years living with his mother, or his father, or both of them, rent-free. And then at the same time, he was going to court and he said he couldn't afford anything because, and he had his father and his mother paying for everything. Because all they care about is the grandchildren. They were nice to me as long as I was pregnant. As soon as I wasn't pregnant anymore, they didn't give a shit about me. They did the same to Nicole Ross. These people are pure evil. Ginny Vera Schulte is pure evil. She's not a good person. She knows that her son is a horrible person and what he did is wrong, but she supports him because he's a mama's boy. How do you think it feels for me seeing them hugging and doing all that? Every weekend they spend time, the grandparents spend time with my children, yet I cannot even have a phone call with my kids. How is that right? They get to spend any time, day or night, with my children, and I can't even FaceTime my children. How is that right? And nobody wants to get involved because it's so much easier for everybody to look the other way. I'm traumatized. I am completely traumatized. But you know what? I never give up in my children. I have been hurt and I used to cry. I cried buckets. After all of the hearings, I knew that Stephen Clump was going to take his side. I knew he was going to disregard my emotions. He didn't give a shit because I was of no value to him. I had no powerful connections. I didn't come from a family of money. Stephen Clump didn't give a shit. And Armin Karian didn't give a shit. Those people are horrible, horrible people. And you know what? If they're doing it to me, I know they're doing it to other families. They have no respect for mothers and children. Absolutely none. He doesn't want to look at any pictures of the children. He just wants to see names on a piece of paper and have no visual of what any of these children look like. What kind of a court tears a mother, loving mother, away from children? If any part of what I've told you, hits you, or you want to help, or you want to do something, please reach out to me. I do have a GoFundMe. I don't want to give up my children. This has been extremely hard. If you're a mother and you go and you get to hug and kiss your children every day, then you're lucky. I haven't been able to do that. I live 1 hour away from my children. They're in Albuquerque, I'm in Santa Fe. I wasn't allowed to talk to my children. I wasn't allowed to FaceTime my children because they told the court that I abused my children. And nobody talked to the children. There was no guardian ad litem. They just took his word for it because they didn't want to go out of their way. They told me I couldn't see my children because I wouldn't do a psychological evaluation. But they never provided one. He didn't have to do a psychological evaluation. He was supposed to go to All Fates. He didn't want to do that. If he didn't want to do something, Paul Brian Baca, he just wrote to Deborah Ramirez or Stephen Klump and said he didn't want to do it. There was no accountability. Absolutely no accountability. But you know what? They underestimated me as a mother. They underestimated me because they thought that I would just go away. They thought I would just give them the children and go away. And it's been hard because for 8 years I've been fighting for my children. 8 years I see mothers and children together all the time, and I never get to see my kids. I keep hoping for that phone call. I keep hoping for that text. But Caden is so mad at me. Caden hates me because whatever they've put in his head, he hates me. I don't know why he hates me. I'm trying to figure out. Connor hates me because if he loved me, he'd talk to me. They're over there, Samuel Baca, Virginia Schulte, bribing my children, like buying them electronics, buying them new iPhones, taking them places, taking them to Disney, taking them wherever they want to go, on one condition. And that condition is that they do not contact their mother. Because God forbid if they contact their mother, then everything is going to be pulled away from them. They're going to lose everything. That's what they're telling my children, Connor, Caden, and Colin. So if you are their teacher, I want you to know what's going on. These people are pure evil. They're pure evil narcissists. Who does that to the mother-child relationship? Normal people share custody. Samuel Baca and Virginia Schulte and Paul Brian Baca never wanted to share custody. They just wanted to take the children, paint me as this horrible mother. I did make one mistake, and I admitted it, and I took accountability. And he's not perfect. He's a narcissist. Paul Brian Baca is an evil, evil narcissist. He takes all these steroids for working out, and he thinks he can take on 20-year-olds. I've got news for him. You're not 20 anymore. You're 51 years old. You're not young anymore. And you're a horrible person. But I know you don't care because you're a narcissist. And narcissists don't have any empathy for anybody. And what you're doing to the children, what you're doing to Connor, Caden, and Colin is absolutely disgusting. What are you going to do when you don't have mommy and daddy anymore? What, you're going to use their inheritance? These children are going to grow up and they're going to hate you. They're going to hate you for everything you've done to them. I want Connor, Caden, and Colin to talk to me, to reach out to me. He's got no right to tell you that you can't talk to me. And he's scaring you. And he's traumatizing you. And what he's doing is child abuse. And unfortunately, the New Mexico Family Court does not recognize parental alienation. And that is sad. And I want to change the law to recognize it. I want my story to go viral. I want everything to go viral. So these laws change. Because what they're doing is disgusting. What Stephen Klump and Armin Carrion and Deborah Ramirez and Lamar did is absolutely disgusting. Who allows children to alienate the mother, or parents to alienate the mother? Stephen Clump does. He did not protect my children. He told me I could see my children every Sunday from 12 to 6 because Paul Brian Baca and Edmund Perea had missed the hearing. And I was so happy. I was so thrilled. I was elated. And then they filed objections, and everything that he had awarded me was thrown out. Everything. The one tiny bit of hope that I had was just taken away from me. These people have gone out of their way to make the children hate their mother. Boys, I want you to read all my letters. I want you to really read my letters, and I want you to reach out to me on Snapchat. I'm going to put my snap down below, and I'm going to give you my phone. All you have to do is download Textnow and text me. They're not going to be mad at you because they're not going to know. He's a horrible, horrible, horrible person. What he's doing to you is traumatic. It's traumatizing. And shame on the New Mexico family court for allowing this. I am a good mother. I'm a loving mother. If you had talked to any of the mothers that knew me at Turquoise Trail, you know I'm a good mother. I love my children. But all those mothers have gone the other way. That includes Kristen Hollenbrook, who couldn't wait. She was there 1 minute, and the next minute she was gone. She was there for the first 4 months. And then after that and then she'd come over to me and go, "Hey, honey, honey." Everybody was honey. Anyway, that's why I don't have any trust in anybody. I want to have faith in humanity. I want to have the people are going to do the right thing. And it bothers me every time people listen to my videos and read my letters and then they don't do anything to support me. That bothers me. I'm hoping, because all it takes is one person to do the right thing. One person that has the power. If you care, then I hope it's you. If you care and you understand what's happened is wrong. No mother. If prisoners can see their children, why can't I? And the only reason I can't see my children is because Paul Brian Baca, Samuel Baca, and Virginia Schulte lied to the court. Excuse me. And then Stephen Clump went along with it. There's no guardian ad litem ever appointed. Ever. Everything was my word against theirs. Can you imagine going through this for 8 years, watching other parents with their children? It hurts me every time I see families with children. It hurts me because I didn't get to have that. Colin was 6 years old when he was taken away from me. Caden was 8 and Connor was 10. This has been horrible. I wouldn't want any mother to go through what I've gone through. And the fact that I never gave up on my children. And you know what? Nobody from his side of the family ever reached out for me. Nobody. People that I knew for 13 years, not one single person. Not any of his cousins, Rebecca, Renee, Brianna. None of them ever reached out to me. Once you were gone from the family, you were no longer, anything. That's how it works in Hispanic families. They all stick together. But you know what they're forgetting? Those children are half of me. And that's something that they can never take away. Those kids are half of me. Half their DNA is mine. And boys, Connor, Caden, and Colin, if you want to keep going along and you want to keep hurting your mother, and you want to, because you're afraid of losing the inheritance, and you're afraid of losing the iPhones and all the money that they're going to give you for college and all the electronics they give you, and the crappy vacations they take you on. And you're putting all that ahead of your mom. Shame on you, boys. Caden, if you're mad at me, let me know why you're mad at me. I'm sorry that you're mad at me. I want to know why. I want you to understand, and goes for you, Connor, Caden, and Colin, that there's two sides to every story. You're only hearing one side of the story. There's two sides to every story. And you're old enough now. Soon you're going to be a young man, Caden. Soon you're going to be 18. He's scaring you because that's how they control you, by scaring you. If I didn't care about you boys, I wouldn't write all these letters. I wouldn't stay in New Mexico. I hate New Mexico. I don't want to be here. But I'm so scared in my head to be even further away from you. I'm so terrified. I would give anything, boys, to have a relationship with you. I know that you're confused. And I also know that you're traumatized because of everything you've been told. He's planted these seeds in your head, these evil seeds in your head. And these seeds has blossomed, and now it's like the devil talking to you. It's like the devil in your mind. That's how he controls you. You need to stop listening to one side of the story, boys. I understand you're mad. I understand you're hurt. I understand you have all these questions. I understand. But if you love your mother and if you care about your mom, reach out to me. If any tiny part of you boys care about, and if you are my son's teachers, I want to know how their grades are. I want to know how their parent-teacher meetings are. Who goes to their parent-teacher meetings? How involved is Paul Brian Baca in their schooling? How's Connor's grades? You don't see me because they don't let you see me. I can't go to the school because I'm not on the list. But his girlfriend's on the list. His mother is on the list. His father is on the list. But I'm not on the list, and I'm their mother. How is that right? Because nobody wants to help me. I can't get any lawyer to help me. I don't have any more money for lawyers. I'm paying child support, and I can't even see my children. I'm barely making it. I work 2 days a week. Out of that, I have to pay for my apartment. I have to pay my water. I have to pay my electricity. I have to pay child support. I have to pay my car insurance, which I just paid, and it was like they wanted $840 for 6 months. I have to go to the gym because that's kind of the one thing I do for me, is go to the gym. And then I have to buy food. And I only work 2 days a week. So basically I get, let me think. So I get $900 every 2 weeks. No, I get $450 every 2 weeks. So that's $900 a month. And then I have to take the child support off of it. And then take my rent off of it. Take my water. Take my electricity. Take my gym. Take my food. I have nothing left. I'm barely making it. But he's over there and he's got his mother and his father paying for everything. His Uncle Danny Baca gave him his job in Sandia Labs. He's just a baby. He'd be still breastfeeding his mother. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. It's so unhealthy. I mean, they're depriving my children of a beautiful relationship with their mom. My children grew up in the Xbox. I didn't want my kids growing up in the Xbox. I wanted to be able to monitor everything my children did. All that was taken away from me by Stephen Klump and Armand Carrion. Family court does not give a shit. I didn't get to pick the visitation. It was what they wanted. What was convenient for them. Not what was best for the children, but what was good for him. I have been so hurt. I've been hurt. A person in my situation would have turned to drugs. And I haven't. I've never done drugs. I don't drink anymore. I've been extremely, extremely hurt. I would give anything to talk to my children. I would give anything for Connor, Caden, and Colin just to reach out and say Mom, just to be called Mom again. I don't have any pictures of my children. It's like no one cares. It's like I'm nothing. It's like I have no value. Anyway, boys, if you want to reach out to me, my text number is Textnow, which is an app. It's 505-427-2057. Just reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. Don't be listening to one side of the story and stop being scared, because you shouldn't be scared. I could tell from the pictures, boys, that you're not happy. I could tell from the pictures you're not happy. Because you have something huge missing. He's got all the neighbors on Red Bloom Road turned against me. I don't know what he's been telling them. All I want is a relationship with my sons. I can't move on without my children. I gave birth to 3 kids because I wanted them. And shame on people for not supporting me. Shame on the people that can afford to help and have the connections to help, and they choose not to. It takes enormous courage to come on here and share my story. It takes enormous courage. All the hurt, all the betrayal. But I want to have faith in humanity. I want to know that there's people that still care. I wouldn't want any mother to go through what I've gone through. Alright, I gotta go. Thanks for listening.